Aloha, beautiful ladies. Welcome to the Woman Unleashed online retreat. My name is Amber Quile Milani Benici. I am your retreat host, and today we have a special session on writing. Looking forward to that, but just want to remind you that this retreat is for you. So make sure that you take this time to pause, meaning like close the doors, like any distractions, let them go, get yourself ready to roll. Today for your session, make sure you got your art journal, your One Unleashed journal that you're working with, pen, any coloring goodies you have, as well as beverage of choice, whatever you're drinking today. Today, for me, I've got some Vita Coco coconut water. I'm hydrating with the water of the gods, as we say here in Hawaii. And yeah, so you're all ready to go. So before we jump in, before I introduce you to our session guide, let's just get present so we can really receive what we're meant to receive today and go from there, okay? So with me, just close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to just notice if anything's coming up from earlier today, anything that's on your mind that you're thinking about from earlier in this session. Let's inhale in. And together, exhale and let that go. Noticing anything to come that you might be worried about or it's on your mind. Any energy pulling you forward from this moment. Let's inhale in. And together, exhale and let that go. And our third and final breath together, inhaling, smelling this moment, this time together. Nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. And exhale and release. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I get to introduce you today to our retreat guide, Elizabeth Blue. So Elizabeth Blue, if you haven't met her, she's a writer. She's a comedian and an entrepreneur. And she's written multiple one-woman shows. She's toured festivals through Canada, Chicago, New York. She's been nominated for awards like Just for Laughs Best Comedy Award, Best Theatrical Production. She's had several years performing improv and musical comedy on stages in New York City. She works with both entrepreneurs and creatives, really helping them to bring their creative visions into life, whether that's launching a new program, to writing a book, or creating a one-person show. And today we get to have Elizabeth with us to really bring out that inner writer for us to listen deeply to what we feel called to write and share. So Elizabeth, welcome. So happy you're here with us today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yay. And Elizabeth today is joining us from the land of the roosters and of the birds, Bali.
Yeah. And the rain and more coconuts here too, and palm trees and loud taxi drivers. So we'll see what noises pop up.
Awesome. So I'm excited for you to take us through this journey for us to kind of, we were talking, we had lots of ideas of like what we want to create for the retreat and for the women. And I think what you settled on is awesome. I can't wait to kind of like be like looking at writing and like how to write a story, your story or a story to kind of give some bones, some structure to kind of play with it a little bit and actually dive in with some of the process today. So I've got my journal. I'm ready.
Cool. Yeah. Great. Yeah. So today I'm going to take us through a bit of the structure of a story and writing a story. And this is a lot like the hero's journey, which we've heard about Joseph Campbell, which probably many women here are on themselves personally in their lives. And that's a lot of those are the stories we're drawn to reading and that we're also like wanting to share of our own. So whether you want to tell your own story in some way, if you've had a journey you want to share, or if you feel like a story brimming inside you that is a screenplay or it's a book or just a story, all the elements can be used for for all of it. So similarly, this journey, it's the creative process takes us on. So going on this hero's journey with the creative process that starts in the same way, and we also with a call, with this feeling inside that there's this adventure in the unknown of this thing there, and we don't know what it is, and that we have to like take the steps to go on. And then as we go on, we may encounter different challenges on our way that want to stop us from actually finishing this thing. So my hope for you is that you'll be able to take what we're talking about today and both use it to help you on your path of creating the thing you want to create, and give some structure to these ideas that are brimming and coming forth.
Awesome. I'm excited. So it sounds like you're going to take us through. Well, first of all, just a note on Joseph Campbell for people who aren't familiar with the traditional hero's journey. Like, there's actual like the steps through the journey. Can you just quickly take us on that for people that know, so they know the steps? You mentioned the call.
Yeah. So the basics, to bring it down to the basics, like feeling a call to go on this journey, some sort of incident happening that like starts moving you forward, like you take the first step because of something happens. Like Elizabeth Gilbert, Eat, Pray, Love is a great example. She goes through the divorce. She's on the floor crying. She's in tears. And she's like, there has to be, like, this is not working for me. There has to be another way. And that sets her forth on this journey that then gets her to India. And India, Italy, Bali. As the rest of us have followed her to Bali here. And then the different challenges. So there's raising stakes. So there's the challenges that are incurred along the way that can be internal. So the internal things we face, or external. And that is where the growth really happens, that we have to keep overcoming challenge after challenge after challenge. And now I'm thinking to the Liz Gilbert analogy, maybe the different things she experienced in India with like the challenge of meditating, or this is a bad example. It's what's coming to me, and being in Bali and getting a UTI. That's not really what we're going for here, but or even like the guy David, before even the whole trip that she had the relationship with, and really struggled with letting that go. And just each of these mini challenges are the stakes raising to see, like, is she going to find happiness? Are we going to get to the other side of it? And then there's ultimately some type of climax where where everything comes to a head, and we're either going to succeed or fail on the goal. And there's some sort of change happens within us. And this is a lot of people sharing their own story. It might be like, I was sad, I was depressed, I got an eating disorder, I was involved in all this self-hurting stuff, and then I started awakening and everything shifted, and then now I'm happy in Bali or whatever it is. And now it's like the final, then there's some sort of conclusion where they've either succeeded at their goal and they've had a transformation, or they failed, and there's some sort of teaching in that. So that's kind of a quick summary, but it all comes down to some sort of transformation happens along the way through having to overcome like these different obstacles that we face.
Perfect. So it's like we start with the call, we go to like the instant, the impetus that gets us like into movement, the challenges like along the journey, at the climax of like, succeeding or failing, and then conclusion, wrapping it up. So there's so many stories, like the Lord of the Rings stories. Right. I'm thinking, the Wizard of Oz stories, like, yeah.
And it's all the same. It's all the same. Like, And I love the Lord of the Rings story. I always think of that with the creative quests. So like feeling this call to start writing something is like Gandalf knocking at your door. There's this big wizard and you just want to have cozy tea and be comfy and cozy and warm. But then now this call to adventure is happening and you have to choose, and we're going to take it. So maybe this is a good place for us to start.
Yeah, totally. Hold on.
No headphones now.
Yep, no headphones now. We fixed the headset thing, so now we're ready to really dive in.
Yeah. So as we're getting started, and before really thinking about this call to adventure that our character is being called on, or looking back at our story, what call to adventure we were called on, let's take a moment to just really feel into what is the call to adventure I am feeling in this moment called on. So do you have an idea or a feeling of the thing that you want to write? And it's okay if the answer is no, but if you do, it's just a chance to acknowledge that. Chances are there have been times through life where this thing has popped up again and again of like, I know there's a book inside me, or like, I know I've got this like crazy screenplay that I want to write. And so take a moment to just brainstorm, what is the call that I'm feeling? It could be also you don't know what it looks like, but you know the essence of it. Like, I don't know exactly how this will look, but I feel there's this particular story I want to tell. So you can take a moment to brainstorm that a bit. So this is just for you. You can share if you want. I'm tempted to ask Amber, but there's also a sort of in the early stages of this idea place, and it's probably true for all kinds of arts. It's really good to just keep it to yourself and then share with maybe if you're working with a mentor or a creative collaborator, close friend, but like there's definite like sacredness to the brewing of the thing. So I'm not going to ask Amber what her thing is, because it's like these little baby seedlings that will need some watering and to grow. So as you think about that, I also want you to take a moment to acknowledge what comes up for you as you think about doing this. Like, what's all the why this can't happen stuff. And let's just acknowledge these, because these are also a part of the hero's journey. There's this inward battle of like, dare I actually do this, or should I refuse the call? Am I going to answer this or refuse the call? So what are the things that come up for you? Just allow the naysaying voices a chance to just be heard, so we can say, okay, I see you, I hear you.
So we do have an option at this point. We can say, okay, I'm going to believe all these things and not go. You know, Gandalf is there. The scary woods are outside. I can decide, no, not for me. I'm going to stay in here where it's warm and I have tea and nothing is threatening my existence. But if we choose that, and maybe this is something you've experienced, is you're going to keep feeling that unsettled feeling. It's because there is this thing within you trying to come out. So, and this is something I like to call the idea fairies, which are the inspiration and ideas floating about that are looking for a warm body to bring them through. A funny story about this is, like, I got this idea and wrote about this in this little book I wrote like 2 years ago. And then I didn't share the book. And then Big Magic came out and Elizabeth Gilbert's talking about the same thing. And I'm like, well, that's the message from the idea fairies. And then even a few weeks ago, Danielle Laporte sent an email and she's talking about idea fairies. And so the thing is, I haven't been out there sharing this, my take on it. And so the same idea is buzzing around, and then here are these warm bodies who are out there sharing it. So this is like twofold, both like if you don't create the thing, it's going to come through someone else, because like all of this inspiration, where does it even come from? I mean, that's a big question. We all, that's been since early times, people have been trying to figure out, and we don't know the answer, but as you see the same ideas circulating around the same time, because they're in this consciousness up here. So the good thing is that they're right there, so you have this inspiration available to share. And if you don't, you're going to keep getting knocked on the head by these idea fairies. It's like, are you going to do this thing? Are you going to do this thing? So now let's take a moment to set an intention. Unless you're like, okay, no, I'm going to drink the cozy tea. You can still drink tea even if you're writing. But so now we're just going to create a container for the rest of this time, because setting the intention, and really it's sort of like angels. You might have heard, like, angels are there waiting to help us if we just ask for their support. Like, they can't help us if we're not asking. If you're in any angel reading kind of stuff, you may have heard that. So similarly, like if we actually invoke the idea fairies, set the intention for this, the rest of this time together, you're going to get whatever inspiration ideas you need for the next step in your creative process. So that is, I am just invoking the idea fairies right now and setting that intention for all of us here, so that we can move forward and take the next step on this journey of whatever you're wanting to write. Yeah, cool. So
Here's my fairy. ID fairy right here. Idea fairy. Here she is. You can see her.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm ready.
Cool. So let's look at what is the story that is there brimming, and maybe you've chances are you've got a hint of something. If you got nothing, that's okay, because just scribbling things, you're going to get some pottery to work with later. And that's our goal, is like some shitty first draft of an idea that then you can play with and mold like a nice piece of pottery, just like collecting the clay right now. So let's look at, similar to where you were when you started before this journey. Where is your character that has the story you want to tell? What is the starting point? So it might be referred to as the exposition. Bilbo, Frodo, they're sitting in this little hobbit hole drinking tea. So who are you at the beginning of the story? Who is your character? Just jot down some ideas around that. This is also like the before and after story you see a lot, that's told a lot. What's the before story? And you can think about the character of the character. Again, using Bilbo or Frodo as an example from Lord of the Rings. Before they set on the journey, they aren't really the most courageous little guys. Like they value comfort and security. They want to keep things safe. And it's the journey that's going to develop them. So taking an honest look at where your character is at, what is their flaws of their nature flaws, the things that might hold them back from getting where they want to go, or the things they're really struggling with. And now think about what could be the inciting incident that happens, which is the Gandalf knock at the door, the thing that happens, the invitation, the possibility, I'm booking a flight and I'm going to go on this journey for this next year in this unknown place, or I'm going to go work with a spiritual healer and not know what's going to happen, or I'm going to write this thing. What could be an inciting incident, if you have an idea of what it is, or if it's your story, what was that point that like I began taking the steps towards things shifting. It's like the first steps to the adventure, or just brainstorm some ideas of what that could be. And so with this inciting incident, this thing that happens that sets you on the path, what is your character's goal, or what is your goal? Like if it's a story about how maybe coming out of depression or something, the goal can be as simple as like, I want happiness. Or if it's a love story, like I want to find true love, or I need to go find the ring and get it into the pit of Mordor, whatever it is. What is your character's goal that's going to drive them through this story? Or what was your goal in your life that then is driving you through the adventure you're taking? And it can also be multiple goals, but there's some like deepest main focus. That is the reason for saying yes to this adventure. And just a note on this goal thing, it's a really important factor of it, because it's the thing we're going to hold on to when the things get tough, like why we're going to keep going when things are tough. And pretty much every type of writing, there's some type of goal involved. And so it's like the driving will force of what is moving this story forward. So as we're going along, then the stakes are starting to raise. So we're going to start experiencing different challenges that want to stop us from our goal. This is where your life is really good material, whether you're writing fiction or you're telling your story. Because the things that are happening in our day-to-day existence we're constantly in a day, we're coming across all these challenges. It could be you were planning to go to the co-working space to do your call, and then it poured down rain and your taxi driver's not answering WhatsApp. That was me this morning. And like, okay, I guess it's gonna happen here, because internet's a thing in Bali. So we're starting to think about what are the different things, if it's your story, what are the different complications that came your way and you had to overcome one by one, or your character, what are the different things that start to happen that are stopping you from your goal. It's like in Lord of the Rings, there's all these mini battles they have to fight before they can even get to Mordor. It's like they go here, and then there's this battle, and then there's this evil guy, and then this orc shows up, and then, yeah. This is a lot of the meat of the story, is this like trying the thing and then the challenge, trying the thing and then the challenge, trying the thing, and the stakes are raising, and our hero is getting a little bit tired as you keep, okay, but I'm going to keep moving forward. And if you need, and so looking at your life, like the little things that happen. Another example is Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Seinfeld, Woody Allen. Like those stories they create are about those nuisances of life, and also about our own flaws. So our own flaws can be one of the challenges we have to continually face. And I think that can be some really great material, because it's really, really relatable, of like not finding love because this is like Seinfeld, like she had a weird shadow, or she walked funny, or these things that are really a reflection of our protagonist, but they stop him from his goal. So brainstorm what some of those challenges could be, and look back to some of your character's flaws, and what are some of these parts of themselves they have to overcome in order to get where they want to be. And try to think of, let your mind go a little out there. Like think of like brainstorm some really big potential challenges, and then some of these little nuisances, like a pebble in your shoe that you're walking in the pebble, but then walking with the pebble in your shoe then can take over your entire existence. Or yeah, so brainstorm like some big and some seemingly small stakes. Another activity with this is looking at your life for material, like we were just touching on. J.K. Rowling, she has certain soul-sucking creatures in her books, and she used her depression as, she basically poured that into creating these characters. So you can also, looking at the material existing in your life, whether it's like things currently driving you crazy, getting in your way, stopping you from your goal, your inner things you're trying to overcome, just brainstorm what those things are, and maybe there's a way to either channel that into a thing, or it is your exact material. Like, I'm currently writing something that everything that happens in my life that is annoying, I'm like, perfect, this is really good material, and it goes into the thing. And then I have this interesting story that just came from my life. It's just writing all those things down. So what are some of those things happening right now for you? It can even be your morning, things that, or your afternoon, things that have been your frustrations today. So all this leads up to this main event and this climax and this point where we're either going to ultimately succeed in that goal we set in the beginning, or we're going to fail. And this is where everything's rising to, the moment of the biggest tension. So it could be the standing at Mordor about to throw the ring into the pit, and is it actually going to happen? Is it a pit? I'm sorry. Or Liz Gilbert, she comes to that point where she has to choose, am I going to move forward in this relationship? Is it possible to be spiritual and be in a relationship and be happy, have it all? Wow. And she has to make that decision within herself. So what could this climax, this point be where it's the biggest step in ultimately the transformation taking place? And the hero can succeed or can fail, but they're both like a rich part of this story. It doesn't have to be this perfect fairy tale ending. But either way, there's some sort of change and awakening that happens. And then finally, so something has happened at that point in time, there's some sort of resolution. There's the ending, whether it's going back to Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. A lot of times he does not reach his goal because it's just his own flaws will stop him from his goal, and he there's some sort of horrible play season at the end of the story, but it's comedic because we relate, because often we don't get what we want. That happens too, and that's relatable too. So what are some potential ways this story could come to a resolution? Looking at what are some of the positive ways, or what is maybe a less positive way, but what is the resolution? What is your character ultimately walking away learning about themselves? And how does life look now after this journey we've just been on? So this is the basic elements of any story you want to create or share. And so I hope through this process you've gotten some ideas flowing and some seedlings beginning where you could see the different ways they could grow. And part of the magic of the creative process is we don't know how it's ultimately going to be. So this can guide us along and give us information to play with, but it's really a living thing, the thing you're writing. So as you go along, as you're working on it, your character, you'll get to know your character, it will reveal itself to you. And just like with creating a painting, it's all, so it's this co-creative process, and just remembering you're working with the idea fairies, you're showing up and creating the thing, and then you can see what this is actually going to grow into.
Yay, this has been fun. Well, first of all, I was thinking, like, when I was going through the whole process is, like, just going through, like, the character, the incident, the goal, the challenges, the climax, the resolution. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I just kind of powered through that. I have lots of different ideas, that I was throwing down. And it was interesting to watch when you were talking about relating it to the creative process, right? That, like, the challenges that were coming up in my head were like, well, that sucks, or that's been done before. Like that, like you had us like write why this can't happen, but I noticed that it kept popping up even when I was writing. It was like, that's junk, or that's no good. But to still be like, I'm just going to still write it down anyways and just let this be what it is right now. So I love that you gave us totally permission to let this be that, called the shitty first draft, right? Yeah. But it was really fun. Like, I went on full on like fiction side, which is super fun, but it would be fun to go back and then to actually do it from like my own personal story, perspective, like choosing like a section of my life, or something, and to be able to go back at it and look at it from that perspective. So that was cool to play with that. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And those voices that, you know, the resistor, that is our own antagonist through our creative journey, is a resistance that can crop up with all those thoughts and all those why this can't and all the things that we think we need to pay attention to in the moment because it's so good like that. But that's just that little lizard brain that's scared of us going on this adventure into the unknown. So just the awareness of it and keeping going.
Yeah. Yes, that voice in our head is like the eye of Mordor that's constantly like, yeah. Once Frodo puts his ring on, it's all crazy. That's like what's happening sometimes in writing. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for taking us through this. This has been fun to kind of just play a little bit, to be like, well, what would we do, right? What could we create? I hope, ladies, that like for those of you that have had like this thought like, oh, it'd be fun someday too, or I'd really like to kind of maybe share that experience either like with my kids or my grandkids or whatever, that you were able to play a little bit. And if not, that you can come back and like watch it again and be like, okay, what can I do in order to share, right? Because I think about even when I'm thinking as a parent or as a grandparent, that there's sometimes that it's like, how do we share our stories in ways too that are empowering? And that's part of when you're talking about like climax and resolution. It's like getting what you want. So part of resolution is like acknowledging what you've learned or what isn't working or that side of it too. So it's like catching the wisdom in the stories. And so I think that was a cool way to kind of look at that too. So thank you, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Now I know that you have, you work with people to like get them writing and to get like the stuff, juices flowing, right? And you have something to help our audience continue their writing juices flowing. I'd love if you could share some.
Yeah. So what I have for you guys is it's a 5-day walk and write challenge, where because walking is really a way that you can get the inspiration, like not writing, just go walk and the inspiration can flow. And then you write. So it's a 5-day challenge and you will go through and do some similar prompts and some different prompts and also take walks and just so then being on this co-creative adventure. And to get that, you can just go to elizabethblue.net/amber.
Awesome. Also, ladies, you can just click the link right below here and click the link and it'll take you right there. So that's perfect. I love the idea of walking and writing because that's actually what I do whenever I write my blog posts. If I feel stuck or if there's any sort of thing, I actually just go out for a walk and then I speak it into my phone, you know, my voice to text or voice to text, just to kind of, again, it's like stuff flows when I'm walking. Same in the shower. A shower's another place that things just like pop in. I'm like, shower. I don't have like a pen out. I don't remember this, you know, when I get out. But it's good to have those things to kind of pop the memories. So that's cool. 5 days to get the writing action going, ladies. So click on the link right below here and you can head on over. So thank you again, Elizabeth. I really appreciate you taking the time and creating this experience for the ladies during the retreat so that they can tap into that inner writer and play a bit. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Have fun writing and creating.
Yay. All right, beauties. So we'll be seeing you on the last session pretty soon coming up. So we'll be seeing you there and see you in the Facebook group. Oh, Facebook group. Hello. We would love for you to share in the Facebook group. So you can go ahead and share some of your story that came up for you, or you can share any ahas during our session that you're like, oh, this popped up for me, or this popped up. Or if you have questions about writing your story, feel free to tag, and we'll be in there cheering you on, all right? So we'll see you there. Have a good one. Bye now.